What is up, guys? Welcome back. Today, we're diving into a topic that is super relevant to our everyday lives. Even if you don't realize it, you are making economic decisions every single day. So let's just jump right into this fun, fast-paced explainer on demand and supply. Picture this. You're walking home from school, it's absolutely boiling outside, and you see your favorite milk tea shop or juice stand flashing a massive buy one, take one sign. What's your immediate reaction? You're definitely going to buy some, right? Maybe even grab 2 or 3 instead of just 1? Well, that natural instinct you just felt, that is literally the perfect introduction to what we're talking about today. That instinct is exactly what economists call demand. Demand is basically the amount of a product or service that consumers are willing and able to buy at various prices in a given time frame. Notice those 2 crucial words there, willing and able. It means you actually want to buy it and you have the cash to do it. Essentially, this concept represents us, the everyday buyers. Now, there is a golden rule for us consumers, the law of demand. It states that there's an inverse, or opposite, relationship between price and quantity demanded. When prices go up, naturally our demand goes down because we're trying to save our money. But when prices drop, like with that buy one take one sale we just talked about, the amount people want and can afford shoots right up. It makes perfect logical sense, doesn't it? But wait a second. Before we just assume that price is the only thing changing our minds in the real world, we've got to talk about this essential Latin phrase, ceteris paribus. Simply put, it means all other things being equal. Think of it like a pause button for real life. We use this assumption to freeze all those other factors, like a sudden change in your allowance or a shift in your personal tastes. By keeping everything else constant, we can clearly see how price, and price alone, actually affects our demand. And that brings us right to the demand curve. So if the price of a piece of candy is at its absolute highest, say $5 on the left side, maybe only 10 people want to buy it. But as that price drops from $5 all the way down to $1, you'll see the quantity demanded rapidly increases all the way to 50 pieces. That's exactly why the curve has that downward slope from left to right. Now, when the price of the product itself changes, we get what's called a movement along the demand curve. If the price drops from $5 down to $4, we just slide over to the next point on that exact same line, and we can immediately see the demand jump from 10 to 20 pieces. This downward sliding movement visually proves the law of demand in action. Okay, let's take a quick breather here. We've got a pretty solid grasp on the consumer's point of view. Now I want you to completely flip your mindset. Take off your hungry student or everyday shopper hat for a second. Imagine you're a smart entrepreneur, a business owner, or a seller. How would you act then? Welcome to the world of supply. This is the other side of the economic coin. Supply is defined as the amount of products that producers are willing and able to sell at different prices. And over here, the rules totally change. The relationship here is direct or positive. Businesses naturally want to sell way more goods when market prices are higher. Why? To maximize profit, of course. When market prices are up, business owners are super motivated to just produce. But just like with demand, price isn't the only thing calling the shots for business owners. We have what are called non-price factors. These are outside situations that can completely change how much supply a business can actually produce, totally independent of the selling price. Let's break down the heavy hitters here, like technology, cost of production, and the number of sellers. Let's kick it off with technology. Picture that milk tea shop we talked about earlier. Maybe they used to seal all their cups by hand, which takes forever. But then they buy an automatic cup sealer machine. That's a new technology upgrade. Because of that one change, production gets so much faster. And boom, your supply automatically increases because you can serve way more customers in a single day. Modern technology is a massive driver for increasing supply. Now let's look at the cost of production. What if the price of raw materials, like sugar, tea leaves, or boba pearls, suddenly spikes? Since those materials are more expensive, it literally costs you more money to make just 1 cup of milk tea. If your budget stays the same, you can only afford to make fewer cups. So, when the cost of production goes up, the shop's supply might actually decrease. Another super noticeable factor is the number of sellers in the market. You know how trendy aesthetic street food stalls are right now? When a specific trend blows up, you'll notice that by the very next week, tons of people have set up their own competing stalls in the exact same spot. This sudden trend brings in a wave of new sellers, which automatically increases the total market supply of that specific product. All right, guys, we have covered a ton of ground today, from the strategic consumer all the way to the profit-driven producer. Now we're going to transition into our assessment phase. It's pop quiz time. Are you ready to test out your business and consumer instincts? I want you to actively think about these and try to answer them before I reveal the solution. Let's get into it. Here is question number 1 for you. According to the law of demand, what happens to the quantity demanded when the price increases? I'll give you a second. Go ahead and shout your answer out loud if you know it. And the answer is it decreases. Remember that inverse relationship we talked about? As consumers, we always want to stretch our dollars. So when a product gets more expensive, we naturally buy less of it. Great job on that one. Let's move on to question number 2. I need you to switch back into your producer mindset for this one. If a seller buys a modern machine to make their products faster, which non-price factor of supply is this an example of? The answer is a change in technology. Whenever a business gets a new machine or some upgraded equipment that speeds up their workflow, that directly boosts their ability to supply more goods to the market. Okay, last question. Let's test your core economic vocabulary. What is that essential Latin phrase we discussed earlier that means assuming all other factors remain constant? You know, our trusty economic pause button. Boom! Ceteris paribus! Excellent work if you got that. By assuming absolutely nothing else changes, we can clearly see the pure relationship between price and quantity. If you nailed that, congratulations, you have a really solid grip on the core concepts of this explainer. So, the most crucial takeaway from our entire discussion today is this beautiful, constant tug-of-war that's always happening in our markets. Consumers, representing demand, want the lowest prices possible to stretch their money. But producers, representing supply, want the highest prices possible to maximize their business growth. It's the interaction of these two opposing forces that literally runs our entire economy. And that brings us to the end of our explainer. But before I let you go, I want you to think about this. How will you use your new knowledge of demand and supply the next time you budget your weekly allowance? Or maybe when you're daydreaming about starting your own small business? Economics isn't just about lines on a graph. It's the study of human decisions. Be a smart consumer and a savvy producer. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I'll catch you on our next deep dive.